Welcome back for what is the final time here at the Jönköping Regional Championships, and we've got a bit of a good game coming up.
Yes, this is what it all came down to. Magnus Pedersen, Bert Wolters both fighted through the entire tournament, and both players are currently undefeated still.
Yeah, I mean, to get to this stage, I mean, in top 8 you kind of have to go undefeated, but
yeah,
to get to this stage, having played day 1 Swiss and got to the point where you're confident that your deck's working, because you spend some time building your deck list before the tournament, and you're like, right, I've got it right. But then for it to go unbeaten for the entire run up until the end to the final, that is some good work.
Both players must certainly be very comfortable with their decks right now, and both players have shown how capable they are of managing this deck. We've seen them fight through very hard opponents. We had them fight for very hard matchups as well, especially on Magnus' side. And yeah, so we will see a big showdown, and you guys should guess who's winning right now. Just write #Bert or #Magnus in the chat to enter our giveaway.
For a heck of a prize.
Oh yes, and what a prize it is.
It's 2 tickets to any DreamHack this year of your choice, so that's anywhere in the world. So that could be DreamHack Winter here in Europe, it could be to any of the US ones. And if you think Bert was going to win it, because, I mean, I don't blame you if you look at his resume.
Yeah,
that's quite a resume.
If you need some convincing, just look at it. Convincing. He was top 8 at Worlds. Actually, I always have that winning Leipzig was his top achievement, because I was just thinking about the cash era, where there are regions with cash prizes. But before that, in the last season without cash prizes at regionals, Bert Wolters managed to get into top 8 of Worlds.
Yep.
By the way, playing Greninja.
Well,
does it make it better? Does it make it worse? I leave that up to you guys. But he did make it.
Yeah, for any of those fans of Greninja, Bert might be your guy. But then if we have a look at Magnus's results, it doesn't look an impressive resume, but we've said time and time again, we don't track the results from seniors.
If you look at this, you have to first add in your mind that at least finalist at the DreamHack Winter Regionals here.
Yep.
DreamHack Summer.
And also world champion in the seniors division.
Yes.
Right now.
And not to talk about I'd guess 20 regional wins and seniors and whatnot.
Probably everything. Like his list probably would go off the bottom of our chart. I mean, so does Bert's, but we only have so much space.
Right.
So we'll have a little look at their prize cards now, as they're more or less ready to go. We're just waiting for the timekeeper to appear so we can start the official timing for the final.
We're jumping right into the game, and they're already going.
So we have a Marshadow start, not really what Magnus wants to start. He wants to keep that for disruption.
Certainly. It's probably his second worst opener. However, as long as it is not the Tapu Koko GX, he's still kind of fine with it. And it looks like Bert went first and had a very, very weak first turn.
Well, it looked more or less like that. Looks like it's just nest ball, go. And that is probably not what you're aiming to do.
Certainly not.
You're normally they're trying to get multiple energy attachments in turn 1 so they can attack turn 2.
And on the other side, Magnus has this Buzzwole with the Beast Energy, and Eevee's Snorlax, of course, is weak to fighting, so this Buzzwole will be hitting, if he draws a switch, for at least 120 damage.
Yep, and that's starting to threaten immediately. He's also playing copies of choice bands, so he finds one of them, and suddenly he's looking like, right, this is a 2-hit knockout for 3 prizes on... Suddenly, you're going to struggle to get out of this active position.
If Magnus draws a switch here, he's already in a prime position to take it. However, he already used the supporter, and he did not draw into a switching card.
So, just passing the turn back. Bert playing... it looks like he's playing a split of nest balls there. He's got one of the league promo ones and one of the traditional ones.
Picking another Volcanion.
I mean, this is the... So I was having a chat with a few of the other players just before this, because we were like, right, how do we think this matchup plays out? It's very clear Bert has picked his list and tweaked it for this kind of matchup with the high Volcanion counts, the heal. Like he looks like he's gone, right, Zapdos is probably the most threatening thing I'm going to face. How do I play around that?
Exactly, we've seen Andrew Emerson versus Magnus in top 8, and he played the aggressive Jirachi build, and he struggled a lot against this non-Jigs Zapdos deck. And Bert on the other side, he has way more tools to combat this matchup. He has a lot of healing. He has not only Asteron and Max Potion, he also plays the mixed herbs, and he has 4 of his Volcanion, which are quite tanky in themselves.
Yeah, and they're capable of taking knockouts. With so the thing is that the reason why the Reshizard Dex is so good is that against the other tag teams, which have high hit points, it doesn't matter. You just blow them up.
Exactly.
But what this now lets him do is he doesn't. It's like not wasting damage.
Yeah.
It's not like it's just going nowhere and being overkilled. It's just going to try and take the knockout instead by just being kind of precise with the numbers.
Yeah, instead of using this tag teams, Bert's just going to use a non-GX as well, and when it's a fight non-GX versus non-GX. But Bert's non-GX are not only bulkier and hit for more damage with less resources required, they also have healing in their bag.
So the turn from Magnus was pretty straightforward, all in all. Get a Zapdos, go Sledgehammer.
120.
Yeah, it's like, right, what have you got? Well, what he has got is apparently a choice band.
Yeah, and Bert attaching choice band, fire energy, and not doing much, just using cheer up to attach an energy to his benched Volcanion.
Effectively getting him some form of acceleration, though it may already be a little too slow at this stage. His hand doesn't look too good. I see 2 basic energy in there, which is not really going to help him at all. An Ultra Ball. He could attack, because he knows that really he's going to have to be going for the swing arounds at some stage to get these one-hit knockouts on these Volcanion.
Yeah, currently there's nothing on Bert's side of the field that's threatening to take out the Buzzwole, and like with the Beast Energy, Buzzwole of course can be a huge threat. It can, with just single heads, it can take out. It does look
like this first
Volcanion.
game of the final is basically going to come down to a break from both sides.
Yeah.
Which is somewhat disappointing.
Yeah, usually those 2 very aggressive decks face off in what is a pretty slow game here.
Yep, but here it looks like it's instead going to be poke, right, 3 prize cards.
Yeah, and Magnus thinking about, is there anything I need to do? Is there anything I should do? Just attaching another energy, taking a knockout, going up 3 prizes with this easy knockout on the Snorlax tag team.
Yeah, and it's already looking pretty bad for Bert in game 1. It doesn't really matter if your deck is teched for the matchup if you have no way of actively doing anything in it.
Exactly, but apparently Bert still seeing ways for him to win. Finally drawing into not really much of anything.
Yeah.
Account custom catcher here, the best draw card he has.
But it did get him a Reshizard, which is probably what he's the attacker he really needs in this matchup, because that's hard for Magnus to knock out. Yes, he wants with his heal and his Ace of Rollers, he can just pick it up when it gets close. But now instead gets to take a prize. With the high heat blast on the Jirachi. And since he also knows that Magnus has, before taking a load of prize cards, had a slow start, then it's more likely that he's kind of okay, just trying to remove the Jirachi.
Yes, however, Magnus having another Jirachi, getting access to it, he also got a couple of prizes, so he's really sitting in a very comfortable position here.
Yeah.
Bert was forced to put down his Reshizard.
And there's another switch.
Yes.
So with the current Buzzwole and the Beast Energy, he's already doing 110 with his swing around this turn. If he then gets 1 heads flip, down goes the Volcanion, leaving only 2 prize cards left for Magnus.
Yes. However, Magnus also has a Guzma in his hand, so he might opt to go for the Reshizard right away, knowing that he has to take 3 prizes, thinking that knocking out Volcanions won't do him too much good. And yeah, this retreat into another Jirachi looks very much like he will not be attacking into the Volcanion.
Yeah.
But
this is basically saying Guzma.
Yeah.
Because what's the point of taking a single prize now when I can start just kind of sticking things in active, hitting harder, and sitting up, just winning the game?
However, this might work out in Bert's favor if Magnus doesn't flip too many heads and the Reshizard manages to survive a few turns. Then this can buy him time, and he does play as a roller.
2 heads.
Okay, so this Reshizard will be knocked out next turn if Bert does not manage to heal it.
Yeah, that is a chunk of damage that Buzzwole has done. In fact, in a lot of the games we've seen on stream that Magnus has played, the Buzzwole's been more or less his main attacker. It's like Buzzwole, also there's a Zapdos, I guess.
Here Bert finally has a solid supporter, having the green surge, almost being forced to take a max potion, not just almost being forced to take a max potion, or switch here to get it out of the active position. And
max potion, Ace Roller ready for next turn so he can move it. So what we have here is just trying to buy some time because it's just not clicking for him right now. This is the issue with the Greens engine, is that you need the supporter because you don't actually have an awful lot else outside of that.
Yeah, like you don't have those Mars Shadows, the Dennis, you don't have Tapulele or Jirachi, don't have all those great abilities to get you cards, you only have your supporters. And those are basically for Welder, for Green Search, and for Pokegear to get them.
Yep.
So not a whole lot.
Yeah, it becomes a real fight
And
to kind of keep digging, whereas for Magnus now having the Jirachi down, he just gets every turn, gets a Jirachi, set of wishes, finds a piece.
Yeah, and here Magnus decides that those Vulcanians are indeed the weaker parts of Bert's board. Bert has the Azeroth in hand, so Magnus doesn't see a lot of reason why to hit into it, so instead he uses his skateboard, forcing Bert to promote one of his Vulcanians with those valuable energies on them, and being able to take a knockout with Swing Around if he flips one heads.
Yep, and this looks like what's going to happen here. He's just like, well, I'll swing around. That's
that
enough.
was one heads, one tails, so it's 130 damage, and a Vulcanian goes down, putting Magnus to 2 prizes left.
Yeah, and whilst it's fine in theory for Bert to kind of keep saying, right, take a single prize card at a time, it's not really getting him anywhere. And this doesn't look particularly good either, because he has no way of getting the knockout back on the Buzzwole, and it could be just another head split from going down to single prize left, and that means that Bert can't really play another Vulcanian down because that becomes too risky.
So he will be forced to put everything he has into this Charizard, basically.
Not normally too bad an issue, but with how he's been drawing, he hasn't got many things in his hand that it looks like he wants to be using after setting up this Charizard. You know, we do know he has an Acerola there, but he needs a benched Pokemon to be able to use it. And with how he's drawing, he hasn't got it right now. But at the same time, because he's been drawing kind of slowly for the last few turns, technically means only good things are in his deck.
Yeah.
They're all in his hand.
And this Buzzwole putting in a lot of work for Magnus. Already drew 4 prizes. Looks like it will likely take another prize. Drawing 5 prizes in a single game with just this Buzzwole.
Yep.
And yeah.
And there's an Electro Power, so he can start doing some decent damage to the Reshiram Charizard at some point. The Shrine continuing to tick over.
Exactly. It's
but slowly building up damage. Already 20.
30, I think. No, actually, it should be 20.
Should be 20, yeah. Damage on the Reshiram Charizard. So it's going to get, like, that's relevant after a few turns.
No, it's actually 30, yes.
Yeah,
because he healed it because Bert once used Max Potion, so it's out of his turn.
Yep.
Yeah.
So it's a Volkner for the Escape Rope and the Lightning. Why not? You might as well start hitting this Charizard harder.
Yeah.
Now he
and wow, Magnus not only being in a commanding lead, but also having a huge amount of cards in his hand, having all the options he wants at his disposal.
Well, he's also playing a Tapu Koko GX, which means he can, if he has a Lightning Energy, access to a Lightning Energy, he can, in theory, go for the Tapu Koko GX.
Yeah, he can move Beast Energy.
Yep.
So he has a damage modifier and he has Tapu Koko GX, so this will be the game.
Yep. He's like, oh, I didn't even have to move the Beast Energy, though. I could have. And that's a very quick game one.
2 modifiers, of course.
And
one would have been enough because of the Shrine.
Yep.
But yeah, he's Shrine that he would have had another one anyways.
Yep.
And yeah, Magnus Pedersen taking a very quick game one after Bert Wolters just didn't manage to draw anything, really.
Well, and that's what you kind of don't expect to see. You kind of expect it to almost go the other way. You expect the Reshiram Charizard to be going, right, I'm going to take 6 prizes, 6 turns. That's all I need.
Yeah.
But what we saw there, and normally it's the Zapdos going kind of chip damage. But it turns out if you can get into Sledgehammer knockouts, like one-hit knockouts against Zapdos, it's fine.
Turns out Beast Energy is quite good on Buzzwole if you get it early on and manage to use Swing Around. Yeah. And it's also quite nice to take a knockout on a big tag team that doesn't do anything. Yeah,
the tag team that was just kind of sat there was like, that's just 3 prize cards, thanks. Basically the worst starter book.
Yeah.
Could have, is the worst.
From this, it can only get better for Bert.
Yeah.
So even after a disappointing game 1, we still have potentially 2 games left, and Bert Wolters' deck, even though he lost this decidedly, it was certainly not because his deck isn't well equipped to.
It's just it just didn't see the parts he needed. It's a very unfortunate draw.
Exactly.
It's very hard at this point, as well as a player in the final, after kind of a slowish, bad beat almost kind of game,
Yeah.
to kind of go, it's fine, still in the final, 2 more games, just
Also,
win out.
yeah, decks that don't have access to consistency through abilities oftentimes have like some of those consistency issues.
Yeah.
Because they are forced to always draw their supporter cards, and they have nothing that provides those supporter cards.
But nearly forgetting to put his prize cards out for us, and then he was like, oh, no, wait, yep, they go over here now, right?
Yeah.
So for the player on that side, it feels like the prizes are on the wrong side, we should say.
Yeah. We see a bus roll in the prizes for Magnus Pedersen, but he plays 2. Also, bus roll traditionally not the most important card in this matchup.
True. Though it did work last game.
On Bert's side, nothing too special as well.
He does have a welder in his hand, so if he has some energy, he's going to be able to get himself set up for early attacks.
Yeah, he's opening with a Rishizar tag team, which is not optimal. He would have preferred to open with a Volcanion and just go with a very non-Jigs focused strategy. However, it's not too bad to open one. He can use it early on, Ace roll it later, and also he only has 4 Volcanions, so using 1 tag team GX per game is not too unreasonable.
Yeah, he can kind of still get away with it in this situation, providing it's not something that, like the EV Snorlax game did in game 1, which just sits there and just becomes 3 free prize cards.
Exactly. And this EV Snorlax will not be great. He throws it away alongside with a Welder, showing that he definitely has 1 more, because Welder in combination with his Fear Flint is just such an amazing card, being able to accelerate so many energies so
basically
quickly.
3 attachments on turn 1, but at the same time also kind of refills the hand in terms of its kind of card values. Basically goes, right, I get more attachments, but I don't lose cards from my hand.
Exactly.
Very powerful.
And yeah, so Bert got a couple energies into play. He got 2 Volcanion already down, so this is already looking way, way better than his last game.
Yep, attachment down to the Volcanion as well. And he's just going to go, all right, over to you. We have a choice now of, are we going to be going for which attacks, how quickly can you set up? So Magnus's Nest Ball for the Jirachi is basically the standard opening.
Yeah, a Nest Ball, the perfect card as to player's first card in the game, having no drawbacks, getting you the Pokemon you need most, and giving you a quick search through your deck so you can check what is in your prize cards. Magnus seeing, oh yeah, nothing too relevant there, a Guzma and an Electro Power maybe.
The double escape rope is in other matchups would be a problem, but here he's just going to hit whatever's in the active most of the time.
Yeah, most of the time, that's true. And yeah, taking a Jirachi.
Switch into Stellar Wish, probably looking for a supporter of some description here. I don't know if he has one already in his hand. He does get the Shrine of Punishment, so if he has a supporter, that might be quite tempting, so that he can start building up some damage on this Reshiram Charizard. Force Bert to use his Acerolas, his mixed herbs early.
However, going for Choice Band instead.
Basically saying, no, I'm just going to hit it.
Basically, same thing.
Yeah, so that's fine. I'll just make you need them because I'm going to hit you too hard otherwise. And try and put the pressure on.
And yeah, Magnus looking for an attack here, of course. Having the skateboard, he already has the energy.
And the choice band.
However, no supporter for Magnus.
Yeah, his hand outside of this is not good. It's a Rescue Stretcher and a Nihilego, which means that attachment, potentially even 2 if he sees a Welder here. He does, so he could use the Welder to attach an energy. If he wants to, goes for Guzma to try and get to the point where the Reshiram Charizard can take a knockout.
Having another energy in his hand with Guzma will allow him to take a knockout on this Jirachi.
Yep.
Leaving Magnus with nothing in his hand and nothing on his board.
And this really reduces Magnus's outs for the next turn.
So we might see the reverse of game 1 here.
Yeah, but it's like what's happening here is, if he takes out the Jirachi, he's able then to... Right, he knows Magnus has no supporter. He would have seen it.
Yes.
So he can go, well, probably fine. But actually, he's going to go instead to take out the Zapdos, because this means that there's basically no attacker instead. It means that Magnus has more outs, because now he can draw and then hope to either see an attacker or get into a supporter some other way. But then he can also Stellar Wish to replenish resources.
So Bert just valuing taking those knockouts on the Zapdos taking energy and choice man out of play and using his Volcanion.
Yep. Which is, in this situation, by putting the Volcanion active anyway, he forces Magnus to have to take multiple knockouts. The damage on the Reshiram Charizard is a problem, but not something that he's not equipped to deal with through the use of Green's search to get the other heal cards. So instead, Magnus plays the Cynthia, getting himself a fresh hand, getting rid of the slightly awkward start he had. Also got some value from things like the rescue structure he had to get back to that Zapdos.
Yes.
We see that Beast Energy again. He's digging that thing out.
However, no Lightning Energy for Magnus, so he won't be able to attack with Zapdos.
And unless he has...
Oh, he still has a switch, so he could go for maybe another Stellar Wish and top switch onto the Radiant Forest if he wants to.
Yeah.
However, it looks like he's instead just going with Buzzwole, having 130 HP and tanking a hit against this Volcanion. Also, the switch will enable him to switch into Zapdos next turn, take a knockout.
It's actually not guaranteed to survive the turn though, because with the high heat, with high heat blast already hitting 110, and the 2 copies of Kukui in Bert's deck, it might just be that this just gets knocked out in return.
Yeah, Magnus definitely hoping that Bert does not have a Kukui here. He only plays 2 copies of them and no Tapu Lele, so it's not too easy to get them, but it's also not out of the question by any means.
So Heat Factory from Bert, one of the Prism Star stadiums that was introduced in the last few sets. This one extremely powerful, kind of helping you race through your deck in a deck that wants to be aggressive. And since you're discarding a Fire Energy, which you can now get back, is basically free, draw 3 cards.
Yeah, and Bert getting the Kukui here, digging for it with the Heat Factory, of course knowing how important it is to take a knockout here. On the one hand, he wants to keep up the pace and not miss a turn of taking a knockout. On the other hand, this Buzzwole, if it survives the turn and could be switched to the bench, it could then wait till Bert takes another prize, and so it could then deal a lot of damage with Sledgehammer thanks to Beast Energy. However, Bert gets the Kukui.
Yep. And down it goes.
Yes.
Jirachi now put back into the active position. And Bert going, okay, right, so to KO this I need energy. So I can always he can always Volkner. So here he's probably going to see a Stellar Wish first, go for a Volkner, then if he misses out.
Bert up 2 prizes now. However, he did not have an energy attachment last turn because he used it to use Heat Factory to get this Kukui. So he doesn't have a backup Volcanion and might be forced to attack with the Rishizard next turn. Yeah,
which is not really in his plan. But I think he also had a Greens in hand. I think I saw him draw a Greens Exploration. So he can find ways of healing the Rishizard.
Yes.
Even if he does have to attack with it. This Shrine of Punishment is really nice for Magnus, getting to counter the Heat Factory Stadium, but also puts the Charizard really at risk because it's now not too far out of range.
The Heat Factory not only an extremely powerful stadium, but it's also Bert's only stadium. So he still has Field Blower, but the odds of him replacing the Shrine of Punishments very quickly get, of course, much lower. With the Heat Factory gone. Yeah,
it's not really something he wants to spend his resources getting to. So, with access to the shrine,
and guaranteeing the energy he didn't have last turn, so he will be able to take a knockout with Zapdos.
Yeah, this time the Zapdos gets to come in and take a KO on the Volcanion, moving down to only 1 prize card behind, but Bert not really having an attacker ready to go. Would have to use an attachment to the damaged Reshiram Charizard to use its GX attack, which is not really what he wants to be doing here.
Alternatively, he can use Outrage, of course, but that would be risking...
That means keeping the damage counters to be able to do so, which is definitely
Bert forgot the Shrine of Punishment damage here, but would probably be reminded in a second.
Yeah, they've missed a tick.
Exactly.
There we go.
They fix it. Always hard to always remember the Shrine of Punishment, but usually...
These end-of-turn effects are something that are very easy to forget because you kind of get into the habit of just drawing for turn. So now we do see the first Greens exploration. No ability Pokemon in play for Bert, which can be part of the issue sometimes, but here he's probably going to be looking for a heal option and potentially a way of making sure he can guarantee energy attachments for the next couple of turns, so he can start powering up the next Volcanion, because without it, he is going to run out of attackers fairly quickly.
And yeah, he certainly doesn't want to attack too much with his Rishizard, so he's looking to get something like a Welder and multiple Volcanions soon. However, for the time being, he uses this Field Blower to quite a lot of value.
Yeah, gets a lot out of that.
Yeah, removing that Shrine of Punishment and getting rid of this crucial escape board, which is just so powerful in combination with Jirachi. Having a Fire Crystal here, which is also great for him, so he has energies for the next couple turns. He also has a Welder in hand, so next turn he will be able to power up his Volcanion. And here he uses the GX attack to take out the Zapdos.
Yep. Moves down. Only 3 prize cards remaining. Pretty commanding lead. And the damage now on the Reshiram Charizard is not really too much of an issue. You know, it's hard for Magnus, you know, he needs a lot to be able to really threaten here. He already has the attachment. He does have Lily. That's his support gone for turn. I think it draws 5. 4 or 5. Only, oh, that looks like a lot of Guzmas, I think I just saw.
Yeah, indeed.
I think I saw like multiple Guzma.
Also Magnus right away replacing this escape board with another one, having the energy on with Zapdos to be able to attack this turn.
Yeah, Skateboard when it was first released, everyone was like, "Why would I play this? It's a worse Folk Stone."
Yeah,
and then,
but then
the Folk Stone rotated, but also we had a card that has 1 retreat cost and goes to sleep for an absurdly powerful ability.
Yes.
And it was like, wait, let me just go dig these back out of my bulk.
Exactly, just the natural fit. These two are very powerful together, like almost as if cards are made for one another.
Also, I just kind of like the mental image of a Jirachi riding a skateboard.
Yeah.
As Zapdos comes active and hits for a Thunderous Assault for 80 damage, putting it back up to... It's almost as if those mixed herbs never happened.
Yeah, but 110, still a massive 160 HP left, and if Bert uses a Welder here to accelerate some energies, Magnus would have the ability to use his Tapu Koko GX, if he gets it, of course, with Tapu Koko Prism Star, to deal a massive amount of damage anyway. So this damage is not too relevant here.
But we now
However, yeah, of course, important thing is that Bert will be going down to 2 prizes now. So this is the turn in which Magnus can use Nihilego to copy an attack of Bert.
Yeah, probably copy the Flare Strike.
Exactly, either copying the Flare Strike to take a knockout on the Reshiram if he gets it. However, he only plays single Psychic Energy, I believe.
Yeah, so he would require really his Viridian Forest to be able to guarantee it.
His Beast Energy already gone as well.
It'd be interesting to see what order he wants to do this, because there's an argument to try and find some of the parts before Cynthia Ring and then shuffling it the hand in to try and find the rest. But here he's going, all right, Cynthia first, because then I might, I see 6 cards, I get all of them into my hand. That could be the Nest Ball, that could be the energy, the Viridian Forest. Then I know what I need to work for.
And yeah, quite the important turn for Magnus. He really needs a response, and even if he draws it, Bert is just 2 prizes away from winning this, and he has 2 Volcanion that are almost ready to go.
Okay, so there's a Nest Ball in the hand, a Lily, a Switch, and a Marshadow. So he's not done seeing cards this turn, but it's whether he feels the need to commit to it. I don't think he will. I don't think he's happy with the idea of going for the Nihilego there, because he just knows it gets responded on too easily. Yeah,
however, it's still his best option, because he needs to take a knockout on this Reshiram Charizard after. Otherwise, he almost guaranteed loses this game, just because Bert takes another prize and is down to 1 and still has 3 attackers on board. So, like, this turn he needs the Nihilego to take a knockout, and then next turn he probably would like to use the Tapu Koko GX to, like, have the ability to tank a few hits.
Yeah.
Otherwise, Volcanion just going to take out anything that comes into the active.
So that's the second time the Nihilego, which is part of this combination, has been the top card of the deck when he's Stellar Wished.
Yes. And this is certainly a hit or miss situation for Magnus.
He gets the Viridian, so he has the energy, he has the Nest Ball. Does he have another way of switch? He just took a switch, right, on the previous one. So he may well have everything he needs to put us this combo.
Yes, it does look like it. There's the Nest Ball for Nihilego. Then there's the Radiant Forest searching out his golden Psychic Energy.
So, Viridian Forest pitches the 4th Jirachi going, look, I've got 3. That's enough cards I see every turn.
Yes, and
gets access to Switch, Psychic, and because he's now down to 2
and a Let Loose.
And the Let Loose.
Top it off.
Yep. So now, because his opponent has 2 prize cards left, Magnus's Nihiligo's Nightcap ability attack basically gets to copy one of the attacks on Bert's side of the board, and normally when you're doing that, it's for a knockout.
So crazy turn for Magnus, 3 Stellar Wishes, Cynthia, and now even a Let Loose, digging so hard for this Nihilego, but finally getting it. Not getting it would have almost definitely won Bert the game. And now Magnus is in quite a solid position. Bert needs an energy to take a knockout on the Nihilego. But then, if Magnus manages to get the Tapu Koko GX,
could be all over.
Yeah, because then Volcanion will only take for 50, but well.
Yep.
Anyways, let's see what happens. If Bert gets an energy and a Guzma, it's basically over.
Yep, we'll see what happens now of... Is
And
there a
he
way
has-
of getting the attach?
That looks
attack-
like
I
it.
see
He
a
has
Guzma,
greens.
and he
He has-
also has access to the Viridians.
Yes, and he has green surge, so this should be
More
basically sealing it.
yeah, this providing he has all the cards he needs left in his deck, of course.
Yeah.
He should do.
If he doesn't have energy or fire crystal, but yeah, he has
He
it.
has at least one.
So he will be able to take a knockout here on the Nihilego, and then the next turn he can just Guzma up at Jirachi. Doesn't
Right.
need the boost on high heat blast since Jirachi's weak to fire.
And finishes it off in
And
style
Magnus-
that way.
Yes, and Magnus Marshadow is the only way for him to disrupt Bert's hand, so this
Yeah,
Guzma will be staying there.
So, but just making sure and just right, okay. The question is of course, making sure what the other card is, because he can hit the fire crystal. But he might go, well, in case for some reason there's a way of being disrupted, how do I make sure I can do it anyway? So, the fire crystal or the energy are probably high on his thing. I think I see custom catchers. Yeah, 2 custom catcher. So
And then Bert
must
not shuffling yet, going back with Viridian to get a fire energy.
So guarantees himself his attachment. Also brings the damage up from Volcanian's attack.
Yeah, this energy, the crucial energy he needs to deal 110 damage. Exactly what he needs to take a knockout on with Nihilego.
So now it's
And
just a
yes.
straight up KO.
Bert Wolters down to a single prize.
And he's just...
And Magnus, knowing that he has the custom catchers, looking if he has any option to
Yep.
win, but he
and
sees...
he knows that... look,
yes, exactly.
okay, he at least has custom catcher. What he didn't know is he also had Guzma.
yeah.
So the fact that he had... like he was like, oh, I've got you twice.
Exactly.
And now we're going to basically go to the final game
Yeah.
of this.
After
1-all.
And after a terrible game 1 from Bert Wolters, he manages to get a convincing game 2. Actually, it was he had a lead for most of the game. He managed to finish off the game without big problems. However, Magnus made it close. This crucial Nihilego turn could have gone both ways had
Yep.
Bert not drawn into stuff like Guzma or
Yeah,
custom catcher.
well, there was a really big turn in the middle where it was which finished with that Marshadow, where
Exactly.
depending on what Bert drew, that could have been it.
Yeah, you basically. I mean, there were quite a lot of outs for Bert, like any Guzma, any green, or
Yep.
double custom catcher
Yep.
as the game. The Viridian already guaranteed for fire energy for him.
Yeah.
So
It's kind of the like the double-edged sword of Viridian is
Yeah.
that there's a lot of decks that like they really do. Well, every deck wants to be attaching once per
Exactly.
turn, right? So the fact that you give your opponent that chance,
exactly.
it doesn't always work in your favor.
There's almost no deck that doesn't benefit from Viridian Forest, so whenever you're building your deck around this card.
Yeah, outside
know
of
that
like
you will be
Stall and
having
Zoroark, which you only
Yeah.
play special energies. But as soon as it then becomes a case of playing basic energies, like the 11 that Bert's playing, sometimes you just go, oh, just thanks.
Yes.
I needed that.
And yeah, so we will be going into game 3, and maybe this time Bert Wolters might open with a Volcanion instead of a tag team.
Ouch. The prize cards for Magnus are somewhat awkward.
Yes.
Uh,
However, he has at least 1 rescue stretcher. I believe he has 2. So he has access, yeah, he has 2 rescue stretcher. He still has a 3rd Zapdos, so he will have access to enough Zapdos. But yeah, it's certainly painful to have 2 of those Zapdos and this extremely powerful Tapu Koko Prism Star as well.
Yeah, that's a lot of his early attacking options aren't there. He's now going to see this when he nest balls. He already played the Buzzwole down and is now going to have to go through and go, oh, where are they all? There's one here.
Yeah, the perfect start for Magnus. Jirachi, Escape Board, Nest Ball. However, I didn't see the rest of his hand. If he has the Lily to top this all off, it's perfect. If he again whiffs the supporter, that would be very unfortunate for him. He's taking a thorough look for his deck, making sure that those Zapdos are not sticking under any other card. But nope, they are in the prize cards. With one Zapdos he searched out will be his only one.
Yeah, and that's always somewhat, because it just means that you have to kind of play your next couple of turns slightly differently, because you're like, okay, I need to find a way of making sure I get a stretcher in time, that once this gets knocked out, I can go and grab it back if I want to chain these. The other option, like his other attacking options aren't, he basically has Buzzwole. That's his other option. So outside of that, it's not the easiest. Gets the attachment in on his Zapdos as well this turn, so he, is able to get attacking as soon as he can, because he knows that Bert's really unlikely to have some form of first turn attack outside of basically weld a double energy KO. Just to hit the single prize.
The Cynthia not being the optimal supporter for Magnus. And here he's looking at his Smart Shadow.
Yeah, it looks pretty tempting, right?
He's looking it in the eyes. He's thinking about, do we want to let loose, my boy? And yes, he's doing it.
Yep.
Let loose.
Just like the guys next door with the music. So gets to gets to let loose, and it's always the thing. I've seen a lot of players complain about this on like Furbank, going, well, now I get 4 cards for my first turn. What am I going to do with these 4 cards? But for Bert, if he gets his greens, he's probably fine anyway.
Yeah, however, he does not play Lily usually. With turn 1 Mars Shadows, the double-edged sword, sometimes the opponent just gets a Lily and gets a super good turn 1 anyways.
Yeah.
Bert does not have this option.
I see very little actually in Bert's hand from what I just glimpsed.
A Fire Crystal and a Custom Catcher, both useless cards. So it depends now on what the other 2 are.
Yeah, there's some form of judge question here. I think the current situation with the judges, so they're aware of what's happening and why it looks a bit confusion, is there's a judge, but also there's another one, a separate one. There's 2 table judges, one of which has a headset. So if one of them spots something, they have to communicate to the other judge.
I think Magnus maybe, I didn't quite see it, but I think he maybe flipped a card or drew 1 card too many.
Okay.
And they are clarifying if there will be any penalty for Magnus.
Would be unfortunate if that was the case, because the prize trade is such an important factor in this game that kind of losing a prize.
Exactly. Also, there's no single prize penalties. There's only double prize penalties, so 2 prizes. And
since he plays single prize attackers, it's like, oh great, I've just kind of lost half of the advantage that my deck plays.
So yeah, that would be a huge difference.
So there's short delay whilst they're making the call. I mean, from the board side, Magnus looks pretty happy, and from what I glimpsed of Bert's hand, Bert will not be.
Yeah.
I saw a Fire Crystal and a Fiery Flint, I think.
I haven't seen anything particularly useful for Bert. This looks like Magnus shuffling his deck. I don't know if they determined whether he saw a card or on what's happening, but they will soon resume playing, and now, if there's a double prize penalty or not,
there is. It doesn't look like it.
Yeah, it won't matter if Bert does not manage to get anything of his let loose.
Yeah, because he can just take them from the prizes instead. Oh, that's a Poké Gear, isn't it? And there's a Poké Gear off the top.
Okay,
that's a pretty big draw.
It was a mixed top, I believe.
Oh, it was, wasn't it? Yeah.
But he has a Fire Energy and he has a Reshizard, so this is already decent. He does not have a supporter for Custom Catcher for 1. Didn't give him much. But thanks to Flare Starter, Bert can kinda compensate for this poor opening.
Yeah, just double check. Magnus just double checking. Okay, goes any way you like. Because normally you just see all 3 go to the Reshizard.
Exactly. Usually those kinds of attacks, they search X amount of energy and attach them to one of their bench Pokemon. Volcanion being much stronger, being able to attach 3 energies to any of your Pokemon in any way you like. Yeah,
that Flare Start ability being kind of one of the best energy acceleration options in the current standard format.
And now Bert having 4 energies on his board, having the Reshizard and this Volcanion already ready to go. Even without a supporter, he's not looking to be in too bad of a situation.
Yeah. And so
Magnus just using Escape Rope to promote the Reshizard.
Yeah, it's just kind of keeping to the game plan of right, great, I'm just going to get myself a Lily. I've got an Electro Power so I can hit some decent damage.
Exactly.
Kind of stop pressure.
Exactly. For the time being, he doesn't really have a great way to deal with the Volcanion. He would need double Electro Power, and he might as well just go for the big Pokemon for the huge amount of prizes.
Yep. especially because he knows that there's attackers in those prize cards, there's
Exactly.
Tapu Koko in those prize cards. He's probably going to
Yes.
go, well, if I can get them back out, makes my life a little bit easier to chain attacks for the rest of this game.
However, this also gives Bert some time, because it will take a few turns to take out this Reshizard. I mean, last time Magnus has done it in 2 turns, I believe, but Bert has a lot of heal, and 270 HP is just so incredibly massive.
So it's a Lily for 3. I see a Tapu Koko GX, I think that was. Another Nest Ball. Fighting Energy.
Fighting Energy goes down to Basvo, preparing for a Sledgehammer or perhaps a swing around.
And I guess just a Thunderous Assault for the 80 damage, choosing not to use the Electro Power that...
80 damage being just enough for Outrage to take a knockout on Zapdos.
Yeah, it does mean that the response is just about there already, so that they are able to kind of start the trading back and forth, because it's going to take a few turns of, like, I take a prize, you kind of get close, and then eventually someone's going to go, right, take 2 prize cards, I get too far ahead.
And Bert thinking about whether he wants to play any cards at all. However, he opts for a Volcanion. If he has energy, he will certainly attach them because he just wants them in play. And but however, he does not have any energy, so he just uses Outrage.
Yeah, so see, I think it's, I'm just double checking what I can see from Bert's hand. It's the Guzma Double Crystal Herb, I think that was.
Yes, and luckily for Bert, Magnus Tapu Koko Prism Star is prized, so he will not be able to use Tapu Koko GX
Yeah,
this turn.
that would have been
Yes,
extremely
This
worrying.
Tapu Thunder this turn would be pretty much exactly enough to take the knockout on the Reshizard, and would be just what Magnus needs, because then Bert would be left with only 2 energy and attacking with 50 damage with his Volcanion.
Yeah, especially because he actually already has the Tapu Koko in hand. It does mean that he's going to have to hit in instead with a different attacker.
Yes.
But he doesn't
And
actually have an energy for anything other than a Buzzwole in hand. I
Yeah,
think.
however, thankfully he has this Rescue Stretcher to recover his 1 Zapdos.
Yeah, he's like, oh, I need them.
Otherwise, Buzzwole attacking with 34 Buzzwole would be his only option. And it's certainly not a desirable
Yeah,
one.
that is an option where you're like, oh, if that's my best play, things are
Yes.
not going well. So he has access to the Zapdos, but he doesn't have
Yes,
energy?
not
Or
yet.
I don't think he has a supporter for like to draw anything with either. I think that's what he's just double checking. I think he might consider going in with like Guzmaing out the Volcanion here. He has the damage modifier in hand. So if he has a damage modifier, he could Guzma. So retreat into the Jirachi, Guzma,
Yes.
take a KO that way. Take some energy off the board, and basically, like, it's like, well, okay, right. I know I don't really want to be dealing with the single prize attackers, but it's not the end of the world.
And here Magnus just going for another Buzzwole. Oh, and we just received confirmation that there was a double prize penalty.
Mm-hmm.
So Bert Wolters is technically up 3 prizes here.
Yeah, and that's a huge, huge factor. So the double prize penalty is basically going to say, right,
So yes, a very unfortunate situation for Magnus, having to use his Buzzwole, putting the Reshizard now at 140 damage. So a Sledgehammer next turn would be not enough to take a knockout. He
Yeah.
would still need his second choice ban.
so Bert's just going,
Or
right,
the Shrine
okay,
of-
what are my options here?
Or-
Like, what have you used? Because it's not an awful lot from either player's side. Like, this has been a very lean game in terms of cards played, but they're both kind of getting to the point where they have their board states established. Well, at least Bert is. Magnus is missing a Zapdos and an attachment on his side, but having no choice, the Guzma into the Volcanion. This is effectively now a 4 prize card lead, which means that even if the Ram Charizard does get knocked out, he kind of avoids the problem entirely. So
Interesting choice from Bert's side. He's now at 4 prizes, so Magnus is in the Sledgehammer turn. He has the choice ban on his Buzzwole, so with the Guzma he can take a knockout on the Reshizard. And Bert, without Kukui, he does not have a way to one-shot this Buzzwole, so he would need either Guzma, double custom catcher, or Kukui to get around it.
yeah, and
Other-
since he's not been playing, he's not been drawing cards or finding cards with his
Yeah.
hand. It's not as if he has a bunch of options available to him.
Yeah, otherwise Magnus would be able to take a lot of prizes with his Buzzwole and more or less even up the game. However, first it's on Magnus to find a Guzma, and it's definitely
Yeah, and you can see Magnus going, almost going, do I want to really take that Viridian? And he decides, no, actually, I think the Electropower is better here.
Yeah.
Because taking that Viridian means that Bert gets to use it too. And since Bert's hand is clearly dead, this card's in there that he's quite happy to throw away to get more energy in play so that the Volcanians can continue doing 110 damage. So instead it's going to be Guzma Electropower from the looks of it. Yep.
And here we see the
Oh, no,
sledge.
yeah, so we might as well use the Sledgehammer this turn since this
Yes.
is the turn where it is active. Obviously with the change, like they changed the prize, how prize penalties worked when there were cards that started having their effects by prizes remaining. So you don't actually physically take the cards. It's just kind of you have to take 2 less to win the game.
This Rishizard had 130 HP left, so the Sledgehammer with the choice band was
He
just
managed
enough.
to miss the other Zapdos in his prize cards. He missed both of the Zapdos. He did get his Coco though.
Yeah, and he still has a Zapdos, and like Coco is amazing for him, of course, because it enables this Tapu Koko GX, which is one of the few cards in the deck that can take
But
one
the issue is that currently his
easily.
board is full. So
Yeah,
there's actually no way of getting either the Coco or the Prism Star or the Tapu Koko GX into
Yes.
play.
however,
And Bert's not probably taking KOs for a little while.
as long as Bert's not taking chaos,
He's
Magnus
happy
is in
anyway.
a great
Yeah.
position, because that means Bert will stay at 4 prizes. And wow,
Wow.
this really makes me wonder why Bert chose to Guzma last turn, because
Yeah.
could have just gone to 4 prizes and now used Guzma
Yep.
to go
So
to 3.
it's going to be another 120, which is
Exactly.
another KO.
So this Sledgehammer will take 4 prizes and even up the game for Magnus.
Yep. And in doing so, it's actually more than that
yeah.
because Bert only has 1 left.
Yeah. However, Bert has his backup Volcanian, so he will be able to definitely take a knockout.
Yeah. So actually, no. So I think.
Interesting.
yeah.
Electro power play. I would have expected those to be quite valued by Magnus. However, he has the Tapu Koko GX and Prism Star in hand.
Yep.
So he probably will have a way to take a knockout on
Yeah,
this
he
Volcanian.
Yeah, even if there is a knockout this turn. Okay, so at least Bert found another basic. He's not going to get benched
Yes.
to lose this game. But it would be a case of there's a guaranteed knockout with High Heat Blast here by the Volcanian, moving down to 1 prize card he needs to take.
Exactly.
But at the same time, Bert being in the same position.
Magnus, you mean.
Yeah,
yes.
Magnus being in exactly the same
And yeah.
position. So does
Magnus usually would have been in the commanding position
Yeah.
here, being in really having a great outlook. He has a strong board position, and he only needs to take 2 prizes. If he can get Tapu Koko GX or double Electro Power next turn to take a knockout on the Volcanian, but is left with hardly anything at all.
Yeah. So actually, what's going to wind up happening here is it's quite viable for. There's a KO from Magnus this turn, and he still hasn't found a greens at all, which means there's 4 greens in deck. And by thinning his deck out with the flints,
Yes.
it's every chance that he can draw the greens for attachment, then into double custom catcher to KO with Jirachi. So it's not like this could come right down to the wire of there's potentially a KO available for both sides at this point. So the Tapu Koko Prism seems like the first step, I think, of the plan.
And there's 1 lightning in the discard
Ah.
pile. So yeah. He was just double checking if Tapu Koko GX can have a prism, have a beast energy on it. He is not even using his Stellar Wish, knowing that it just comes down to Bert having or not having the Guzma.
Yeah. So we
now
know he has. Well, Guzma or double custom catcher would be enough here.
Yes, and Magnus in a commanding position. Without that double price penalty, he would almost certainly have the win here. However, Bert does not look like he has the game here. He will be needing to.
So he has to take the Reshiram and Charizard.
So he will have to try to stall out some time.
Yeah, this is an exciting end as both players down to this last prize card that they need to take to win
And
this championships.
Here the harshness of Magnus might come to pay him if he doesn't have a Guzma in hand.
Yep.
However, I believe he does. So he will have a game next turn, guaranteed.
Welder.
If Bert doesn't get a knockout.
I didn't see a second custom catcher in there.
Yeah, he'd need. Alternatively, he could get energy and switch, but
yeah,
it doesn't look like he has it.
No, I don't think he has either. So it's going to be a retreat
retreating
and do the
attaching
30.
for 30.
So I
And
think there was a Guzma available. There is.
Yes.
Guzma, does he have a way of switching back into the Tapu Koko?
Oh, it does not look like it.
Oh.
And he didn't Stellar Wish last turn.
Yeah, and that could have easily have been the Viridian Forest or
Exactly,
something
or
like that.
Yeah, Viridian Forest, switch, escape rope.
Okay, so it comes
almost
down to does he
anything.
see the escape board
And
or another out? He has a switch. There it is.
And there's
That is the switch, and that is the championship for Magnus Pedersen.
even though he got this devastating double price penalty, putting him in a really bad position, he managed to get just what he needed to take it
So
anyways.
congratulations to Magnus for finishing an extremely exciting series
Yes.
and coming right down to the wire. One prize card each to win that championship.
Certainly, there were unfortunate things happening, like bricks for Bert, like that, like a double price penalty. But in the end, Magnus Pedersen, through 3 close games, managed to get it. And
Yeah, and that's all it takes, right? Is
Yeah.
you get to these points where you have to keep finding it, and they both played to the outs at the last couple of turns. That was like you could tell both of them were like right on the edge of the seat, going, I just need. I didn't have them, and eventually they did. So we're going to go have a quick break, go to an ad, and then we'll have an interview with Magnus. So stay tuned.
Hello everyone, I'm here with Magnus Pedersen, the winner of our DreamHack Summer Regionals. First off, congratulations Magnus, what a finish, what a finals. How are you feeling?
Yeah, I'm really surprised. I didn't think I could win. Like after I made a dumb mistake and got the double prize loss. And
Yeah, certainly that was a tough game, best of 3. Winning with a double prize penalty when your opponent is basically focusing on those non-GX attackers, so you're trading 1 prize for 1 prize, and when he's like 2 prizes ahead, it's really tough. He also has the ceiling and stuff, but yeah, you managed it anyways. And yeah, what do you think about the matchup in general? Because he has his mixed herbs, right, and he has max potion and acerola and stuff.
I feel like the one with abilities is way easier.
Yeah, certainly.
The mixed herbs makes it a lot harder, and like almost need to, if he draws well, I almost need to one-shot 2 of the Reshizards. So yeah, but it still feels like 50-50. I feel like.
Yeah, and like after the double prize penalties was of course very hard, and like we could see you in the end, you were always like, yeah, I lost. You didn't even use the Stellar Wish before the Tapu Koko because you thought, he's just gonna do custom catcher or Guzma.
Yeah, I thought he just had it in the hand, so yeah.
He whiffed it, and then the crucial last Stellar Wish getting you the switch you needed to take the game, and using this Tapu Koko, and of course it was really tough with those Zapdos and Tapu Koko Prism Star prize.
Yeah.
Fortunately, you got the Prism Star out of the prizes, so you could use the GX there.
Otherwise, I would still be screwed. Yeah.
What a game! It was really crazy. And yeah, just tell us quickly. Lately in the Bristol regionals, you got 9th, right?
Yeah.
So after that unfortunate finish, kinda like still a very good finish, but like so close to top 8 and yet not quite there. You came back, you made top 8, and you won it all undefeated at that. So that's of course an amazing start into your first season in Masters after winning Worlds in Seniors. So yeah, amazing finish. You probably are pretty tired after this weekend and want to just rest. So yeah, congratulations for you, and I hope you guys enjoyed it. Or maybe you want to make some shoutouts or something like that.
Yeah, I would like to shout out Owen Kammerman and Sergio Morillas for helping out with the list. Like, really like the 1 near Lego, 1 psychic energy.
Yes.
So
yeah, you basically have this buzzword focus, but you also have the option to go with Nihilego.
Yeah, it's really good against the Reshizards.
Exactly, yeah. We saw it in game 2 where he almost managed to win you the game after being a bit behind.
Yeah.
And yeah, certainly an amazing card. And yeah, that will be it for the weekend. I hope you guys enjoyed all the action, and see you guys next time.